7 days of all access, any handicapper, every play, all for $77. Grab this special now as it expires Monday, Memorial Day at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time. That includes MLB, the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, soccer, golf, and even motor racing. Complete coverage with complete convenience as you receive an email immediately once your handicap releases a play, allowing you to get the best of the line. Just use coupon code FLAG77. Have an existing all access? We have you covered, as the 7 days will be added to the end of your current subscription. Best of all, this special is not limited to one per customer. Try as many cappers as you would like each day for only $11 per day.
Welcome back, guys. Happy Monday, and it's a really, really happy Monday. We have one more game. It's time for Game 7, Montreal and Toronto. A lot of you guys didn't think we'd be here. I struggled to think that we would be here after the Canadiens if they went down 3-1, but here we are. We find the Canadiens and the Leafs in a Game 7. One team favored minus 300 before the series starts, and we are in a Game 7. We also have Game 2, Islanders and Bruins going tonight as well. And Carm, as I bring you in here, we haven't talked in really a few days. All I have to say is, it's not too late. It's not too late to join the team. I know you live in Ontario. I know you were kind of jumping on board with the Leafs for a few games, but it's not too late. We'll still welcome you, man.
I'm not jumping on anybody's bandwagon, Andrew. I am a fan first and foremost. I'll go where the money is. You saw my ticket. As far as the the weekend one goes, it was more of a hedge than anything else. But I will go where the money goes. So that's all that really matters to me. But yeah, Game 7. This is absolutely fantastic. Some news, obviously, to report. Some fans being allowed in the stadium or arena tonight at Scotiabank. 550 fans, but those are first responders, nurses, medical staff that have had or received both shots of their vaccines, and they're allowing them in as a thank you. MLSE is picking up the tab on that one. I think it's just to get some fans and some noise in. And John Tavares on the ice this morning with a blue jersey, which means he will likely, a game time decision, he'll likely be on the bench. How many minutes he sees? I don't know. Maybe 10, 15. Maybe he's there more for an emotional support for the team. But at the end of the day, once they drop that puck, it's Game 7. And Montreal faced elimination Game 5. Got the win. Faced elimination Game 6. This is a game that I don't get the price. Absolutely don't get the price. I think it's way too much for how the last couple of games have gone. If Montreal can come out and do what they did in the last couple of games, which is shut down Austin Matthews, shut down Mitch Marner, and the Leafs are relying on their defense and secondary scoring, it's going to be a tough time. That number one line has to show up tonight. So we'll see what they can do. But I'm telling you, while it's not a coin flip, in my mind, it's not a minus 220 plus 180 line here. But the bookmakers are putting the money, they've set the line to where they think gamblers want to go, which is, hey, the Leafs can't lose. Let's make this line minus 220. Let's get some money on Montreal at plus 180. I think the line is about 40 cents off. Toronto shouldn't be any higher than minus 170, minus 180 here.
Yeah, Carmel, I made a statement on this show saying, if they go down 3-1, it's going to be very difficult for them to make this comeback and win 2 straight, let alone 3 straight, to close out the series. And I think people are kind of confusing my fandom with my professional takes. Canadiens plus 170 tonight, Maple Leafs minus 200. My, liking of the team and being a fan, and me, Carm, we've never watched a game together, but I am screaming at my TV more than any other bets or anything else I watch. Being a fan is different. And I just was not willing to put my money on either team over the last couple of games I was watching as a fan. But a statement that I have made, and you kind of just touched on it, and pretty much everybody disagreed with me on this, but I pretty much have been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's going to be the top 2 lines for the Maple Leafs against the bottom half for the Canadiens. And I think a lot of credit has to go to a player named Philip Deneau, because nobody talks about him in the media too much. None of us are going to talk about him. But if we're going to talk about the struggles for Matthews and Marner, we have to talk about Deneau and Gallagher and Jake Evans. Jake Evans, a player that probably the casual hockey fan doesn't even know who that guy is. But there has to be some credit going somewhere to why these top players are being shut out. This is the most shots we've seen Austin Matthews take without scoring a goal. The most games we've seen him play this year without scoring a goal. Mitch Marner, that was the most clueless puck over the glass delay of game call I've ever seen. So many opportunities for them to just dump the puck out. The game winning goal for the Canadiens, the turnover from Dermott, easy opportunity to put that puck off the boards, decides to do a spin, turns into a turnover, and Byron passes it to Kotkaniemi, and he capitalizes. So, I've been saying this for a couple of days that, I was saying that I think that it worries me because the Leafs still haven't gotten production from their top two lines. But what have I always said about the Canadiens that I love the most is that they have depth, and maybe they don't have, the highlight scorers, the guys that are mentioned in top 10 in the league. But that's kind of my favorite part, is that throughout the lineup, it's hard to pick goal scoring props with this team, Carm, because you don't really know who's going to score any night. It could be a fourth line goal, a first line goal, third line goal. You're not really sure who you're going to get that from. And I'd love to be able to sit here and say that, Jason Spezza and Simmons and Kerfoot and Hyman and those guys, if they step up, the Leafs are going to win. But I've talked to a few Leaf fans. I've read some reports from Leaf reporters. And, for a guy making $10 million a year in Mitch Marner, which is several $1 million less than Nathan McKinnon on the Avalanche, all the pressure now, resides on the side of those top players. William Nylander, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. They brought those veterans like Joe Thornton in for a reason, Carm, but when it comes down to it, the top line players have to show up for the Maple Leafs, and that's why they continuously get these prices, because when they do show up, they're incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, and I get it, and this is, from a props point of view, it's tough. It's tough to even go anywhere near this game at times. I will say this is why the playoffs are absolutely fantastic, because we talked about it heading into this, and you can find anything that fits your narrative. Always, you can find that line, and you listen to people say, "Well, if Matthews and Marner show up tonight, the Leafs, or they're going to show up tonight, and the Leafs are going to win this one easily, 5-1." Well, where has that been? Most of the series, a lot of us didn't think, myself included, didn't think that the Leafs wouldn't win the series in anything more than 6 or 7 games. But I mean, like, the Leafs were in 5 or less. Everyone talked about that. No one gave the Canadiens credit. But once the playoffs start, teams play. It's the same. Winnipeg against Edmonton. You're just seeing teams absolutely stepped up. Nashville did it against Carolina and almost took that to a game 7. So it's one of those things where once that puck drops, you just don't know what a team can do. And this is what Montreal's doing right now. They are taking the Leafs to the limit. And once it goes game 7, Andrew, that grip on the stick is so much tighter for players. No one wants to make that mistake. No one wants to make that pass that turns into a 2-on-1 the other way. And we've seen that in overtime a couple times. This is going to be, I would love nothing better than to see this game go to overtime tonight, because that would be the epitome of what this series has been. And every Montreal and Toronto fan is going to be on the edge of their seats tonight. This is a fantastic one. And the culture, we talk about winning culture. We talked about it with the Florida Panthers, that they were probably a year away from being a very competitive team for a cup. This Leaf team has a slew of talent, or are supposed to have a slew of talent on it. And yet, year in and year out, it's a first-round exit for this team. But this was supposed to be the year for Toronto Maple Leaf fans. And you can say that I'm egging on you all you want, but this is supposed to be the year that was set up for the Maple Leafs to make it to the semifinals of the Stanley Cup Finals, because they were supposed to roll over the North. Well, they might have done it during the regular season, but the playoffs are an absolutely different beast. And we're going to see tonight whether they can finally get over the hump and at least get into a divisional divisional finals and the quarterfinals.
And Carm, as much as all year long I talked about the price that the Leafs were to win the North Division, if you look at it like this, I mean, if you took them to win the North Division at plus 150, you're entering Game 7, with a ticket here at plus 150 for them to win the division. Then you're rolling into the next series again with that price to win the series pretty much, because they're going to be heavy favorites against the Winnipeg Jets as well if they win that. So that price seemed relatively reasonable, but again, they're being pushed to the limit by the team that was the 4th seed. Let's touch on goaltenders for a second. Carey Price, obviously, we all know what he's capable of. We know what he's done. It's been unbelievable. But the only 2 goals that were scored on him, Carm, were deflections. One was off a stick. One was off a skate. Actually, both the same player, Jeff Petrie. So anything he's seeing, he's saving right now. And we got a guy in Jack Campbell on the other side, somebody that I think when he's hot, but when he cools down, he kind of cools down quite a bit. It's tough to blame a 5-on-3 goal, but that Tyler Toffoli goal, he was kind of, deep in his net. Toffoli found that little bit of an angle there. It's tough to look at that 5-on-3 and a 5-on-4 to decide a game, but, feeling it as a goaltender matchup, you got to be looking at it. I mean, if you're a Leafs fan, if you're a Leafs bettor, you have to know that you have an experienced veteran goalie that has, I think it was a 2.49 or 2.29 goals against average in elimination games in his career against a guy in Jack Campbell that wasn't even expected to be playing games, really important games for the Leafs on the season, Carm.
Yeah, no, and I get it, Andrew. This is again, and I feel like I'm going to go in circles on this game, but every single line that rolls out has to show up, and this is probably the most important game where you do not want your goalie not showing up. Campbell has to stand on his head. He's going to have to, as will Price. You cannot allow a goaltending error in when the margins are as slim as they will be tonight. To sort of backtrack to what we saw yesterday, an absolutely tight game between Carolina and Tampa Bay, and it came down to a goaltending error with Nedeljkovic. You know what I mean? I don't know if he crossfoot, couldn't get over it in time. I don't know what it was, but short side, he didn't have the post covered, bad goal, and Tampa takes 2-1, 2-1. Wins the game 2-1 and takes the lead in the series and now has home ice. So it's one of those things where goaltenders are a huge part of the game. Robert Lehner yesterday, unfortunately, he was shell-shocked in that game against Colorado. So both of them have to show up tonight. Which one steals the game? Because honestly, I believe there's going to be the good chances are going to be few and far between. We're not going to see a lot of them, Andrew. Tonight, I doubt it. This isn't going to be an open game. This is going to be such a tight checking game, which is one of the reasons why I'm probably leaning to the under in this game if I can't find a side. Before I throw it back to you, for everyone tuning in, especially those guys south of the border, want to wish you all a happy Memorial Day. Hopefully you guys are getting some good weather, get that barbecue out, crack a couple cold ones, and enjoy your day, and then some action on the ice tonight.
Yes, happy Memorial Day, everybody out there, especially south of the border. As far as everything goes total-wise, Carm, elimination game, I know that I've touched on how in elimination games, it's probably a good idea to look over the total quite a bit or look for these in-game total spots. I'm going to go ahead here and say first period under 1.5 goals. That's going to be the play I'm going to give out. I have a few props I'm going to give out as well on this game. I do lean towards the Montreal Canadiens side at that price. I can't lay that price with the Montreal Canadiens, with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the money line. I like that great juicy dog price on the Canadiens, but I will say this: as much as we've seen close games this series in general and in the playoffs, and I've always said I'm not really a fan of laying the plus 1.5. It's been successful. It's actually, in games that certain teams have lost, the Montreal Canadiens, a few games that they've lost, it's been successful. But I'll say the same thing I said before. If you're going to bet on the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm going to go out here and say that I would take the puck line and get the better price. don't bet the regulation in an elimination game in Game 7 with a historic rivalry like this. You're adding way too much, collateral to your wager. I would much prefer to look at either a -1 or to assume that if the team you're betting on, Toronto Maple Leafs, that's favored at like -200, if they win the game, I think it will be my more than one goal. And for the Montreal Canadiens, I just love that price. It's an unbelievable price for the way they've been playing, the way they've been, playing full 60 minutes, the way Carey Price is playing. I just wonder about rest. Their defensemen are spending a lot of time in their own end. I just wonder about rest and how this team comes into it. But Carm, I know you're going to have some props and stuff like that potentially, but is there any play specifically you want to give out on this game? I'm going to go with under 1.5 first period.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that, Andrew. You can, as you said, you can take sort of, uh, I guess, the angle that if Toronto wins this game, there's going to be some goals in this game. You could look at the over, but probably if you're looking at Toronto, take that equation out of there and you take them on the puck line. If figuring this game doesn't go to OT and you get that empty net or goal, and get a much better price. In these games have just been so close. It's tough for me to want to take the puck line in it.
Yeah, I get it.
Thought the puck line would have been the play in one of the earlier games where I thought they would lock it up, whether it was Game 5 or whether it was Game 6, and that just didn't happen. The Canadiens just continue to surprise me, and you try and figure out whether it's Montreal playing so well that it surprises you, or the Leafs not being able to get over that stigma that is hanging over them of they just can't win a first round series. And it's not just this team, but teams of years past. I think you mentioned it once. I think it's like 17 years now that they haven't gotten out of the first round for what's supposed to be a hockey, the hockey universe here in Ontario and in Toronto. I give it to my friends all the time. Those are the guys who I egg on. They're Leaf fans. It's not so much the fans that I don't know. It's the ones that are friends of mine who just, make it sound like everything revolves around this franchise. With that said, Andrew, if I'm looking at props, I like the one that you talked about, the under 1.5 in the first period. If we don't see any power plays, and it's 5-on-5, it's where I think we're less likely to see goals in that first period because it's going to be a tight checking game. I do like the game to stay under the total, but these elimination games, you've talked about it. Sometimes you tend to see a lot of goals in them. If your book offers that third period over 1.5, I think you've mentioned that one before. You might want to look at the third period over 1.5 because that's where we might see goals if there's some separation in the score. If it's 3-1 for either side heading to that third period, you're likely going to see that a couple goals scored in that third period.
And before we move on to the Islanders and Bruins game, I just got to say it, Carm, because I'm going to show that I'm a fan here, and everybody on here knows it. I've got literally messages from people saying that they're thinking of me when the Habs win because they just can't wait to see what all the Leaf reactions are. I got to say, it bugs me that the success the Canadiens had over the past 2 games, and if they come out on top tonight, which I think they will, it's going to be just, the narrative will be, wow, the Leafs are chokers again. The Leafs have a better team, more talent, but they choked again. Zero credit will go towards the Canadiens. It'll be just all about bashing the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nobody believed me. You guys didn't believe me all season when I said the Leafs were top heavy. We'll find out tonight if, there are a couple guys that are worth more than, around half their salary can show up. But just keep in mind, guys, that Mitchell Marner makes several $1 million more than Nathan McKinnon. Not just one, not just two, several $1 million more than Nathan McKinnon. Let's jump into the Boston Bruins and the New York Islanders. Just had to get that out there, Carm. Had to just squeak that in at the end of the segment. Bruins -200, the Islanders +170. I think all of us, everybody, fans, bettors, media, we all, and Prez had the best line. Prez said Tristan Jarry stole the series in the wrong way. It was hilarious when Prez said Tristan Jarry stole the series for the other team. And I've never heard anybody say that before. but it was hilarious, Carm, because it was kind of true. Um, I regretfully didn't actually get action in on the first game. I kind of just watched and learned, but I realized how much more competitive that first round series was for the Bruins than it actually was for the Islanders, because a lot of the scoreboard that we saw in the Islanders game didn't really dictate on those, expected goals, so to speak. So, we finally saw the Islanders team go up against a good goaltender, and we saw what happened.
Yeah, we did see what happened. I was probably one of the few, and I made sure I told my producer on the show over and over again on Saturday, take the over in the game. I think I gave it out to my clients as well too. I know I gave it out to my clients as well too. The total was at 5, and then some 5.5 started popping up. And this is a series, Andrew, that I believe there's going to be goals in, and I wouldn't doubt it if we see more tonight. The Bruins are playing phenomenal hockey. Say what you want to say. I said it with 3 weeks left in the season. Jump on the Bruins at 14-1 to win the cup, because this team is getting better. They have a chance to win that division. They didn't, because they misstepped a couple times against, I think one against the New Jersey Devils towards the end of the season. But they took care of Washington, lost that first game, dusted them 4 straight. The Islanders are coming off a series against Pittsburgh where I don't think anyone other than maybe myself and you expected them to win the series, and they did. But it took its toll on the team, and I just don't think they can go 7 games with this Bruins team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bruins win this in 5 games. My clients, I went 4-0. I'm going to toot my own horn here for a second. 4-0 with my series picks for clients in the first round, and I did give the Bruins -1.5 games in this series because I believe they win this in 6 games or less. It likely 5. And it starts with another one tonight. They win tonight's game. They put the Islanders clearly behind the 8 ball, having to win both at home. And I don't think they can do that. I think the Bruins go there and win at least one of 2, and then lock it up at home in 5. I like this Bruins team right now. I'll probably look at the puck line tonight on this Bruins team as well, Andrew.
Carm, who are we going to see in net, Sorokin or Varlamov? I'm curious. I think some people have some hunches. People are leaning towards the Varlamov side. I told you before, I'm not a fan of constantly mixing things up. I know it's an opportunity for rest. Look at the Vegas game yesterday. Every single person is crapping all over Robin Lehner like those goals were all his fault. Maybe a few of them, but you got to play better defensively sometimes, And if after game 1, the Islanders pull that move and change their goaltender, I think it sends completely the wrong message to the team. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it does. It's tough. I understand, first of all, not to go off on too many tangents, I understand the Lehner one yesterday. You had Marc-Andre Fleury that played every minute of those 7 games against Minnesota. And, I mentioned on In-Game Live last night that when you looked at that Minnesota series, Fleury played phenomenal the first few games of that series while the team in front of him didn't. And then towards the end of the series, as Vegas got into it, all of their lines played great. Fleury, not so great while they won the series. He let 3 goals in one of those games in that first period where he looked kind of shaky. This is a guy who played 7 games, all 7 games in the series. So maybe you give Lehner the start and then you go back to Fleury. It wasn't the greatest of moves, but this is going to be a long series, or Vegas knows it would be a long series anyway. So you better give him some rest right off the bat. As far as the Sorokin thing goes, he hasn't beaten the Bruins this year. He's 0-3 now against them. So does that start to get into the head? When coaches overthink it, I absolutely hate it when they overthink it and they start switching goalies back.
It's the playoffs, man, right?
It's the playoffs. Yeah, it's the playoffs, and they don't want to lose 2 straight, thinking a goalie. Maybe the rest of the team should show up. How's that for it? And the Islanders are the type of team that they could show up tonight and beat the Bruins. Sure, they could. They did it against Pittsburgh. It was one of those zigzag type series, and maybe that's what they're looking for here. Let's give the Islanders credit that they are a good team, but when they don't find their scoring, they're going to have to rely on a guy like Sorokin or to stand on his head in goal tonight. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but I'm still leaning to the Bruins team. I'm becoming I'm not jumping on the ship or on the bandwagon, Andrew, but I am a fan of the big bad Bruins if they cash my futures bet. And I'm a big futures guy. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but for my soccer guys out there, Chelsea Champions League champions on the weekend, 14-1 for my clients on that one. They cashed, and I'm overjoyed about that one.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Congratulations, Carm. That game, it was exciting. It was 1-0, but I think it was a little more exciting in the Bianco household probably that night. A little bit some celebrating probably. I hope you enjoyed it and are still enjoying it. 14-1, unbelievable. Make sure you guys check it out. I told you guys, I've been telling you guys all year on this show. It's a hockey show. Check out Carm's soccer plays as well. For my 2 cents on this game, I just want to say that playoff hockey is way different, and the Boston Bruins continuously bring it. And I think what we're seeing out of the Islanders are a couple players that still might not have that playoff mentality. Matt Barzal, he's in, he's out, he's game day ready, he's not. Josh Bailey, sometimes we see something out of him, sometimes we don't. I think the biggest pickup, maybe after Jeff Carter, because Jeff Carter was no doubtably a huge pickup for the Penguins, even though they didn't move on, Carm, is Taylor Hall. I mean, have you ever seen a guy just slot in so perfectly with a team? You know, he came from Buffalo. You know, this guy with a lot of line with Craig Smith, David Krejci, because for the longest time, David Krejci didn't really have that line mate. He didn't really have that go-to guy with him. And now the second line, after you have to deal with that quote for quote perfection line, we have Craig Smith, David Krejci, and Taylor Hall. You know, and then after you get past those 2 lines, you have 2 other lines with Coyle, DeBrusk, and Ritchie, guys that will absolutely forecheck until they can't breathe anymore. And go off on the ice because they are that much of workhorses. So the Bruins team are built like a playoff team. Tuukka Rask is playing amazing. But to Carmine's point, I agree with him on these totals. You know, we're seeing a 5.5. We're seeing a 5, even a little bit juice to the over. I'm going to go right back to it. You know, if the Islanders can't score goals, Carm, they're not going to win. They're not going to win hockey games. And I just can't see them shutting down the team of the Boston Bruins. And as far as shots on goal props go, boy, oh boy, I hope you're cashing some with the Bruins, guys. And if you aren't, might as well start with that tonight. So as far as the dumper chase segment goes, Carm, I'm going to continue chasing this Boston Bruins team. I think the Islanders are kind of phony for being here. And you're going to laugh at me for saying that. I went 4-1 on my series wagers, and that one in the loss part of the equation is on the Penguins. And I think Tristan Jarry completely blew it for them. They had some scoring, but I think that the Islanders are outmatched. So as far as the dumper chase segment, I'm on the Bruins, and I believe you are as well.
Yeah, it's going to be Bruins for me. Again, it's not to be disrespectful to the Islanders because I like this team. They've made me a lot of money, especially with their road unders and their home overs during the regular season. It's kind of changed a bit in the playoffs, which is why I went with the over in that game 1 between these 2 teams. They're a good team. Listen, they could absolutely show up tonight. I give credit to Barry Trotz all the time, Andrew. You know it. I like him as a coach, but at the end of the day, I just like this Bruins team. I think they're playing well. It's a task at hand, and the task at hand for the Bruins is to have a 2-0 lead at the end of tonight's game.
Yep.
So we'll see whether they can do it or not. Whether they do it or not, I'd be happy if there's a bunch of goals in this game, and that'll get you to when we get to our prop section of the show or a best bet section of the show. We'll talk about that.
And I'll take the over in the game. I like some goals, just like I said, of course. I think that we will see, as much as it's surprising, as much as both teams can play good defensively, I like the over as well. Just want to mention Jake Muzzin for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not sure if you saw the announcement, but this is pretty fresh news. Out 3+ weeks for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he was questionable heading into today. Results come back. This guy's out now 3+ weeks. So injuries piling up here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Make sure you guys play that into account when you're making your wagers on that game tonight. Let's jump into some props for tonight. Let's get back into the props, guys. Let's start finding some winners again with the props. And let's start things off with the Boston Bruins game. Brad Marchand over 2.5 shots, minus 130. Pretty much that quote for quote perfection line of Pasta, Bergeron, and Marchand. They get so much action. They have the green light to shoot the puck as much as they feel like they can. And I feel like it seemed like this all season long. One game we see Pasternak do something. The next game we see Marchand perform. And it's going to be because they're going to put more attention on Pasternak and leave the other guys open. And I expect to see Marchand get some action and get it going tonight. And I expect lots of shots from him. So getting 3 shots to me won't be too difficult with Brad Marchand, especially if we see some power plays here in second round action. Craig Smith to score a goal, guys, at plus 275. I was just talking about that second line for the Boston Bruins, what they're capable of and what they do. I think it's very slept on the fact that the Taylor Hall and David Krejci, everyone says they're shooters. They're passers. Taylor Hall's a better passer than he gets credit for. He can set people up. And Craig Smith is that kind of guy that people are going to forget about, and they're going to notice Taylor Hall a lot more, and Taylor Hall will dish it off. Craig Smith at plus 275. You can definitely count on me betting that one throughout the series at that price. Last but certainly not least, Carm, you're crazy if you don't think I was going to throw in a Montreal Canadiens prop tonight on the show. Plus 300 on the young man Cole Caulfield to find the back of the net. He has been impacting the game. He has been getting dangerous scoring opportunities, and he has gained the trust of Dominic Ducharme, a coach, as I might add, a lot of people have been hating on him throughout the series. Before the series starts, seems like whatever he's done has worked out pretty well. And at plus 300 for a guy that's going to get quite a bit of ice time, I'm going to bet Cole Caulfield to score. Quick recap: Marchand over 2.5 shots, Smith to score a goal at plus 275 from the Bruins, and Cole Caulfield to find the back of the net at plus 300. Before we jump into best bets, Carm, I'm going to go to you for what you have up at WagerTalk for $9 Monday. $9 for every play, for every handicapper, for no matter what percentage, 4, 5, even if it's a 3% play, best bet, whatever it is, just $9 at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, a couple different cards up. One goes at 12 o'clock. It's the Euro Under 21 Soccer Championships. They're in the knockout stages, final 8 teams. 3 plays up on today's card. First one goes at 12. Then there's a couple at 3 o'clock. I will repost the 3 o'clock ones once the 12 o'clock game goes off. 2 plays in NHL tonight. Obviously, the games that we discussed, a good run in NHL in the playoffs. So let's see if we can keep that going. And then just on a side note, for the Euro Championships that are coming up, I'll be recording a preview tomorrow with none other than Kelly Stewart. Everyone loves Kelly Stewart, so you'll want to see that when it is posted. And I'll have a publication that you'll be able to download for free. It has schedules, futures bets, a ton of information. It'll be on my page at wagertalk.com. And if you picked up the one before the World that I did before the World Cup, I predicted France and Croatia, and 7-1 and 40-1. They met in the finals. So that was some free money if you followed along.
Good stuff, Carm. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to check it out. I knew you were a good talker. Didn't know you could write. So we'll find. We'll have to find out and see what goes into that. but let us know your best bet, Carm. What's going on for tonight?
Yeah. With all that, I forgot to give you guys my best bet. I'm going to the Bruins game. What Italian does not like pasta? And with that said, I'm taking Pasternak to score tonight, plus 145. He's having a pretty good playoffs, guys. Obviously a hat trick last game, but 5 goals, 4 assists through 6 games. Not a bad start so far. Let's add some pasta to the Memorial Day celebration with a goal from Pasternak tonight, plus 145.
I'm not sure, Carm, if you even saw that image that was being posted, or you're just really good at ignoring things. And I really wish Joe would give me a Montreal Canadiens image to post, but I feel like I'm probably going to get some Leafs image as well. But look, guys, heading into, look, there it is. There it is. Of course, I can't get an image to go my way. I can't get anything to go my way. But my best bet is going to be in the Maple Leafs game and the Montreal Canadiens. It's going to be a shot prop. And as much as I've bashed on this guy on the show a little bit, I've got my jabs in. I'm going with Mitch Marner over 2.5 shots. That price is listed at -140. Look, this game, no matter what we see as the result, is going to be filled with shots from the superstars for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the goaltending of Carey Price will decide the factor in the outcome of the game, but also what happens with those couple players, not only in this game, but honestly in the offseason. So no matter what happens, goals or not, I expect Mitch Marner to be firing some shots on target, and over 2.5 shots on goal for Mitch Marner. That's my best bet. Carmine has Pasta over or to score a goal at +145. And guys, baseball continues to run hot for me long term. Like I said, it was pretty much a really slow start. First, 2 weeks of the season, wasn't really seeing things the best. And then other than that, since then, it's been really, really hot. So check out my baseball stuff and hop on board. I'll have 2 best bets up tonight in the MLB. And you guys know what I'm playing. I already told you in the NHL. These are all my bets that I will be playing. There you go, Joe. Thanks a lot. Go Habs, go. Best of luck, guys. I just want to say, I told you guys, I'm not too surprised we're here right now. Enjoy the games, and best of luck. We'll see you tomorrow.